In a controversial move, Netflix announces they're going to be making a big budget AAA PC game, but what kind and why? And why are people worried? This is using Unreal Engine and live services. There's a kicker right there. So they recently formed the Netflix Game Studio. They hired a guy named Mike Verdu for it. He actually worked with Facebook, AR, and VR back in around 2019, so pretty recently. And they actually pulled in the former Overwatch executive producer Chaco Sonny to run this as well. So they have a couple people that have experience with games, but something seems a little different here. Let's check out the Netflix Games Studio page here. It says they're a small, scrappy team with big ambitions and an obsession to deliver memorable game moments. So they have Night School Studio and Boss Fight Entertainment as related teams. Boss Fight did things such as Halo Wars franchises and some other things, free-to-play mega hits, and that right there is the first thing that has people a little bit concerned. Free-to-play. Now, when a game is free-to-play, and as someone who has played mobile games and does play Clash of Clans, what does that tell you? We'll get to that here in just a minute, but let's go back to the main page here. Now they have listings for project directors, lead engineer, live service analysts. The term live service really kind of makes people a little wary of this, right? Because that's the type of thing. Sure, it gets updates and keeps everything fresh. That's awesome. But what comes with live service games that worries people? So let's keep on going here. We'll take a look at some comments here in just a minute too. They want a game director, technical director, and they don't have a name for it that they're showing just yet. They don't have much release date, but they're usually movie people, right? And they actually still do send out DVDs in the mail if you go that route. But they're a movie studio making games. Is that just a little strange? The only thing they're telling us so far is it's a brand new AAA PC game built on Unreal. Now it is a third-person action RPG. And it's not like an FPS or anything like that. So now when I think of third-person RPG, I think of definitely ways they could monetize that. Can't you? Now this is the real big kicker here. They have suggestions that they want to create media tie-ins for the game, worthy of a Netflix film and TV series. Now Netflix will buy a lot of things and put things onto their series. I mean, we've seen recently games that have gotten their series, such as Witcher, Halo, and they're controversial. People say they don't really live up to what the games say. The character's different, story, all of that sort of thing. So it sounds like here, if we read this, worthy of a Netflix TV, film, and series. They're designing this game kind of almost not in tandem with the TV series, but it sounds like that they want to make them coincide or coexist. They can make this game that they can adapt into a movie and a TV. They're just basically reusing their assets in a roundabout way, which is smart from a business perspective. But keep looking at that term here, worthy TV Netflix series. They're definitely making double dipping in there, which could be a bit controversial because are they making a game for the sake of the game? Or are they making it to where it can slide into a TV movie, be very easily adaptable at the sacrifice of the game? How are they monetizing this? Is it games as a service with the live service? There's a lot of things up in the air and a lot of things and well, like I said, we'll look at comments here in just a second that really kind of span it out a little bit better than that. But they do say that it's maintaining a single source of truth for the game's lore, expand the project into quote-unquote other media. And the responsibility for the live service analyst role has analysis of free-to-play and live service games. So they're really looking into this and trying to figure it out. As the article says, it's the first we've seen of a first-party Netflix game. We don't have a lot of details yet, and the expansion outside of mobile games. Now, the company does have some mobile game offerings that are increasing. They've gotten a few developers here, an in-house Helsinki studio with no ads or in-app purchases, which is interesting enough for that there. So does that possibly make it a little bit easier on folks? Does it kind of ease their minds? It says its in-house Helsinki studio aims to develop original games with no ads or in-app purchases. That doesn't mean that this won't, that doesn't mean it will. Now we take a look over at Reddit, some comments that I found really interesting here. The first one says, I automatically tune out when I hear about these mega companies getting into games. It's never a fully fleshed out single player experience. It's always games as a service, microtransaction craphole. No thanks. When you look at the way the games are designed today, like I said, I play Clash of Clans, it's very clear that they have a microtransaction model. You can still play and still do just fine without buying anything, but if you do, it is accelerated. Now, I'm trying to think how they could put this together. If it's not a mobile game, they could sell skins, they could do battle passes. Now, the thing I do not want to see, and I doubt they'll do this, let me know what you think when they talks about in terms of microtransactions, having things that benefit a player paying money for player versus player. So if I buy a gun that has better stats and I can use it against you, not just monsters. So that was a little bit, I think it's going too far that way. They would definitely catch a lot of crap. I don't think that's something that they do. I'd hope not, because that would get a lot of pushback. They said they don't know the first thing about making games, let alone good games. Many of the existing AAA developers don't know and don't care. They're trying to make profits, not games. Now, you look here, they're a movie studio, and to develop a game, and this is a really, really interesting comment here as I scroll down, they're developing games from a movie studio perspective. They could hire on a AAA studio that's already had that game-making experience to bring everybody on and say, hey, we've made games before, we know what we're doing, let me help you out, because making a movie is not the same as making a game. Or they can build from the ground up this AAA studio, but it sounds like they've started bringing in people. Like you said, Mike was from Facebook VR and AR. They've got Overwatch's older guy there. There's a lot of things they're bringing in, people they're bringing in, so you can tell they're trying it here. And this is interesting too, saying they'll cancel it, as Netflix is wont to do. Kind of funny little pun there. I'm getting Stadia vibes. Netflix really shouldn't be throwing money away on getting into a different market when their core business is movies and TV series. It would be far more lucrative for Netflix to get into educational and training content. That's a big, big, big comment. Does give you Stadia vibes. So they're saying Netflix should stay in their lane because recently they lost a ton of subscribers. Things were looking downhill for them, and it wasn't actually too long ago that happened. So they're trying to branch out, not put all their eggs in one basket, when this commenter says that they should be narrowing in again, focusing on the movies, TV, educational content is huge. Training content, people pay big bucks for that. Companies love that kind of stuff, and it helps them a lot. And like I said too, remember, big companies like this also have trouble when it comes to building up a AAA studio from scratch, like they're trying to bring people in. Building up the talent required for something as ambitious as a big budget PC game requires not only money, but time. The only way to rush the process is by buying an existing studio, otherwise it'll take years to get the team going. Google and Amazon are two notorious examples, with the former being a total failure and the latter not seeing the best results yet. And of course, that is how you find what works and what doesn't. You experiment, trial and error. You push it out there, say, hey, did this project work? No, it did not. Let's either reiterate and regroup with it, come back to it, or just scrap it, cut our losses and move on, not get into this sunk cost fallacy where just because we put a bunch of money into it, we got to keep putting money into it. That's something that a lot of us fall victim to for sure. As we talked about that, they'll quickly find out that a good game isn't made by throwing money at it. Google and Amazon found that out in an expensive way. It's not. I mean, you have to be able to know how to make a game. Putting money gets people in the door to help you make it, but that doesn't mean it's going to be great. Of course, people are saying it's going to be live service. Focus on your streaming service. Will it be written by people who hate video games? There's people that are definitely a little wary about having a live service, game turning into movie, microtransaction, made by people who don't really know games, forming a team. It all seems like a big cash grab to a lot of people, and I don't know what the answer is as of yet, but I do want to know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to check out a 12-year-old tweet that almost just basically canceled a guy. I'm Austin. Subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.